GMA Amy Robach talks diagnosis after on-camera mammogram. Former Good Morning America journalist Amy Robach famously learned that she was dealing with breast cancer after receiving a mammogram on the air. Over a decade later, Robach opened up about the story. In particular, she opened up about what she learned and what she hoped to impart to other women. Amy Robach opened up about the story during a recent podcast appearance. Robach is a journalist previously known for her work with ABC News. This included serving as an anchor for Good Morning America and 2020. Prior to this, Robach worked for NBC News. This included serving as a co-host of Today's Saturday Edition and an anchor on MSNBC. Robach recently appeared on the SheMD podcast, where she reflected on her health as well as a dangerous breast cancer myth that she believed. She shared, "I did not think cancer could happen to me." At the time, Robach shared that she felt invincible because breast cancer didn't run in her family. Over a decade earlier, Robach nearly rejected a GMA assignment that would ultimately save her life. In October 2013, she was asked to receive her first mammogram in a van at Times Square during a live broadcast. Beforehand, Robach thought that women could wait until 50 to start screening if they didn't have a family history of the disease. Robach recalled thinking, "There's no way I'm doing that. I'm not going to get a mammogram 10 years before I'm supposed to for television purposes." GMA alum and breast cancer survivor Robin Roberts convinced her to reconsider, sharing that this belief made her exactly the type of woman who needed a public screening. Robach agreed but felt that she would only do this to encourage other women to make similar appointments. Ultimately, she shared, "I had no idea that I was actually going to be saving my own life." The former Good Morning America journalist shared that she now appreciates each birthday. When technicians began to call her about something suspicious, Robach initially ignored the calls and waited nearly a month to continue the process. Learning that she had a lump in her right breast, she shared, "I sobbed, I heaved, I actually had a full-on panic attack. That's how much I didn't believe breast cancer could happen to me." Robach was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer that had spread to her lymph nodes. She ultimately underwent a double mastectomy, chemotherapy, and breast reconstruction. However, she shared that cancer remained a part of her life even after treatment. Calling it a lifetime diagnosis, Robach shared, "Once you're diagnosed with breast cancer, that cancer stays with you mentally, even if physically you have it cut out. The treatment and all the doctors tell you you are cancer-free, you are in remission, it never leaves you." Robach continued, "You have to manage concern and worry. You have to learn how to be brave in a way that you didn't know you could. Ultimately," she mused, "you don't feel like celebrating because there are new emotions." However, Robach, who has since partnered with Novartis and its breast cancer unscripted campaign, expressed gratitude over what happened. She shared, "I celebrate every birthday in a way I never had before. It's a blessing to be growing older, is it not?" She underwent a double mastectomy followed by chemotherapy and reconstructive surgery. Like many cancer patients, Robach faced months of physical recovery, along with emotional challenges that continued long after treatment ended. Although doctors ultimately declared her cancer-free, she explained that surviving cancer doesn't necessarily mean leaving it behind. During the podcast, Robach described breast cancer as a diagnosis that remains with patients for the rest of their lives. Even after successful treatment, the emotional impact continues. Every medical appointment, every routine scan, every unfamiliar ache or pain, each one can trigger memories of the original diagnosis. Once you're diagnosed with breast cancer, that cancer stays with you mentally, Robach explained. Even hearing doctors confirm remission doesn't erase the experience. Instead, survivors often learn to live alongside uncertainty while moving forward with gratitude. She acknowledged that managing those emotions requires a different kind of courage than she ever imagined needing. Learning how to live after cancer, she said, becomes part of the healing process. While many people expect survivors to celebrate reaching remission, Robach admitted the reality is often more complicated. Instead of immediate relief, many experience a mixture of gratitude, anxiety, hope, and lingering fear. Those emotions can coexist. Over time, however, Robach says her perspective on life has fundamentally changed. Perhaps nowhere is that transformation more evident than in the way she now celebrates birthdays. Before her diagnosis, getting older never seemed especially meaningful. Today, every birthday represents something entirely different. "I celebrate every birthday in a way I never had before," she shared. Growing older, she now believes is a privilege rather than something to resist. Her experience has inspired her to become an advocate for breast cancer awareness, using her platform to encourage conversations about screening, education, and survivorship. She has partnered with Novartis through its Breast Cancer Unscripted campaign, which focuses on helping patients share honest experiences about diagnosis, treatment, and life afterward. For Robach, advocacy has become an extension of her own journey. If sharing her story encourages even one woman to schedule a screening or pay attention to unusual symptoms, she believes it's worth revisiting one of the most difficult chapters of her life. Her experience also serves as a reminder that breast cancer does not affect people with a family history of the disease. Risk factors vary, and many women diagnosed each year have no close relatives who previously faced breast cancer. That was the misconception Robach herself once believed. Today, she hopes others won't make the same assumption. Looking back, it's remarkable how a television assignment she initially wanted to avoid became the reason her cancer was discovered before it progressed even further. What began as a public awareness segment ultimately became a life-saving medical exam. More than 10 years later, Amy Robach continues to speak openly about both the physical and emotional realities of surviving breast cancer. Her message remains clear: never assume you're immune, never ignore recommended screenings, and never take another birthday for granted. For Robach, the mammogram she almost declined didn't just create a memorable television moment, it gave her the opportunity to continue living the life she treasures today.